Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for tuning in. I wanted to mention or talk about game shows. I've already done a segment or a video on TV talk. I figured why not do one on game shows? So, when you think about all the different game shows that have come out, you know, through the years, some come out and then they get canceled or they end and then they come back and you may have it, you know, reincarnate, so to speak, two, maybe three times along the way. Um, I'm a fan of game shows. I still watch game shows on Buzzer, Game Show Network sometimes, depends on what it is. Game Show Network used to show more of your older game shows than what they do now, but for some reason they've gone to the more modern today material, which is fine. Um, Sometimes I like to go on YouTube and look up, certain game shows that I like to watch. There's just so many out there. I just enjoy so many different ones. One of the ones that I do like watching on Buzzer is I do like Match Game with Gene Rayburn in the 70s. I really like that one a lot. The humor between Charles Nelson Riley and Brett Summers is to be unmatched. I've always loved the way they played off of each other. And of course, we don't want to forget Richard Dawson. Every contestant that won, that got up there, when they went to do the 500 or the 250 or the $100 to match, a majority of them would choose Richard. And then when they went for the higher amount of money, 10 times whatever it is that they won the first time around, they would choose Richard again because they knew that if they went with Richard, they would get the right answer a majority of the time, not always. But that's one that I enjoy watching. Another one, I'm glad that they brought it back. There's a channel that you can get through an app called Pluto TV. They have The Price is Right. They brought back the Bob Barker days. And I will always be loyal to Bob Barker on The Price is Right, even though The Price is Right is not originally done by Bob Barker, because it goes back before that. It goes back to the 50s when Bill Cullen originally hosted the show way back then. But it was a different concept. It wasn't like what came, what it fabricated into later. I like to watch that. Let's see. Of course, Wheel of Fortune. We all know that Chuck Woolery, those that are old enough to remember, was the original host of that show. And I believe before Vanna White, you had a woman named Susan Hayward. Don't quote me on that. I might have to double check that. But there was a different lady that would turn the letters. And then, of course, we know what happened in the early 80s. Then Pat Sajak and Vanna White, come along, and then the rest is history in that respect. Let's see. Another one that's good, rest in peace, Alex Trebek, is Jeopardy! Still a fan of Jeopardy! I watched it off and on since the 80s, ever since he started hosting it. Of course, the show is prior to that. You also had it in the 1970s. It may even go back further than that. I'm not positive at the moment, but I know that it's been on for quite some time. Let's see. To Tell the Truth, Kitty Carlisle, Peggy Cass, to name a couple of the guest panelists that's on there. And of course you had, Gary Moore as host. And then I remember much later back when I was a teenager, you had Alex Trebek hosted it for a while. For those of you that may or may not know, there was a man named Lynn Swan who is a ex-football player. He hosted it for a little while, and there was a man named Gordon Elliott that hosted it for a little while. And that would have been somewhere around 1990 or 91. Let's see. Another one that I enjoyed watching, and I'm sure you guys did too, was one called The Gong Show with Chuck Barris. You know, J.P. Morgan, you know, I love how they used to go up, and if the person that was performing was not doing a good job, they would go up and hit the big gong, and it'd make that bong sound, and that was the end of it. That's a good one to watch. I know that they brought that one back about 3, maybe 4 years ago. And I have to give them credit. They actually did a pretty good job on it. Whether or not it's still on, I don't know. I haven't seen it lately. But that's another game show that I used to like to watch. Of course, going back even further, I do like shows like What's My Line that originated in the 1950s. I did mention, you know, To Tell the Truth. Let's see, another one that was really good, originally from the 50s, but you also had it further in 60s, 70s, 80s as well, was one called Name That Tune. Now, I remember that show having Kathy Lee Gifford on it for a little while. And when I started watching, I know you had different hosts, but when I started watching it, Jim Lang, I believe it was, from The Dating Game, was host of the show. Another good game show that I used to like to watch as well, probably late 70s, 80s, was Tic-Tac-Toe, or Tic-Tac-Doe, I believe it was, with Wink Martindale. That was a good one. You know, there's just, I'm sure I'm leaving out quite a bit of game shows. You know, if you like, down in the comments, if you wish, please feel free to mention some other game shows that you liked watching. Like I said, I'm sure I'm leaving out quite a bit. But the essence of my game shows primarily focused around the 1980s. Oh, before I forget, another game show that I used to like to watch, actually it's 2 or 3, actually it's 3. One of them is The Pyramid with Dick Clark. I know it started out as the $10,000 pyramid, and then it became the $20,000 pyramid, $25,000 pyramid in the 80s, and then it eventually became the $100,000 pyramid. I used to like to watch that. Of course, you had Sale of the Century. I watched that back when Jim Perry was host, but I know that there was another host prior to that, maybe 2. I'm not certain at the moment. But I used to like to watch that. Another one I liked was called Press Your Luck. I liked that one more so as a child than I did as a grown-up. But that one I used to like to watch. Again, so many different ones. Blockbusters with Bill Cullen in the early 80s. That one was great. Hollywood Squares, don't want to leave that one out. Peter Marshall. And then later in the 80s, you had John Davidson as host. So I remember those 2 different variations. Anyway, I just wanted to come on here and just basically just have a little chat about game shows. Like I said, if you like what you see, you know, you like my content, please feel free to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Again, if you can think of any other game shows that you used to like to watch in your younger days or when you were a child, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I would like to see some feedback and see what some of you guys used to like to watch. I certainly appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.